Hey everyone, it's Zach Beck. Presidential politics are now upon us. Given the recent pandemic and economic turmoil we've encountered over the last number of months, this promises to be one of the most unique election cycles ever. Now, in spite of the unique events that have led to this particular moment, we're still encountering similar things that come up every 4 years as it pertains to presidential politics. For example, people will argue on the Republican side that if the Democrat gets elected as president, then we're going to see the stock market crash. On the flip side, we're seeing that people on the Democratic side are saying if the Republican gets elected president, that's going to cause economic turmoil. And what I want to do in this video is talk about the different arguments that exist, why they are there, but more importantly, historically, what it actually means for the stock market depending upon which party gets elected and how that affects the bottom line for you or myself. So let's jump into it right now. When it comes to presidential politics, arguments are everything, and you might have heard the following argument. If the Democrat gets elected, they're going to increase capital gains taxes, which ultimately is going to hurt investors. On the flip side, you might be hearing people say against the Republican presidential candidate that if that person gets elected, they are not going to impose a mask mandate, which is going to cause us to have to close down the economy again, leading to job losses and further economic turmoil. And while some of those arguments may have some truth in them, I think that the importance for us to look at is that when it comes to the stock market historically does not care as much about who is president. They care more specifically about what affects the bottom line for corporate earnings. And that is a type of events that specifically trigger economic turmoil such as a pandemic, although you might even find other natural disasters such as a hurricane, a fire that might shut down businesses for a while. So generally speaking, when it comes to the politics of this is not as critical as it does relate to specifically what's happening with the overall events that transpire in the world. So what I want to do right now is talk a little bit more about what we have seen historically and how you and I can position ourselves no matter who gets elected this November. You might be asking yourself, why does the market not get affected as much by the presidential politics we're encountering right now? And that is because history shows that long-term market performance is not tied directly to who's in office or who's in power. Once again, it's affected by corporate earnings and events that affect those corporate earnings. In addition, markets are very forward-looking. For example, when the market dropped back in March and April, it was presumed that the economy was going to die, that basically the pandemic was sweeping across the nation and affecting everything over the long haul. So we saw this dramatic drop in the stock market. But recently, we have seen the S&P 500 go to record highs, and we're seeing the stock market getting back to similar level to where it was pre-pandemic. Begging to ask the question, why is it doing that? Once again, the market is always forward-looking, whereas economic data and economic indicators are usually backward-looking. And what we're seeing right now is the market is seeing an economy that is starting to open up, that businesses are starting to engage with customers more recently. People are adapting this economic environment to accommodate customers' concerns when it comes to safety and health. And overall, it seems like the fundamentals of the economy are relatively strong. So whether or not the economy shifts depending upon who gets elected president, that probably won't be affected as much as the overall tenor of what is happening in the economy as a whole. Now when it gets into the specifics of the economic policies you might get from either president, obviously we have a Republican president right now who has certain economic policies that he's put in place, and the stock market has responded accordingly. However, because the stock market is forward-looking, they're always anticipating future change. And for example, let's say if the Democrat gets elected as president, there might be some policy changes as it relates to the stock market. But institutional investors, people who are buying and holding over the long haul, know that they're going to have Republican and Democratic presidents no matter what they're going to do. And because of that, they know that if changes happen, they just want some certainty of knowing what those changes are, and they will bake that into the cake and plan accordingly. So if capital gains taxes get increased, they will plan accordingly, but the stock market will still increase. People are still going to want to invest, people are still going to want to make money, and just because you have a different president in the White House, that's not ultimately going to affect long-term what's going to happen with the market. There have been arguments made that once you have a new president in the White House switching parties, that ultimately it's going to upend the market and things are going to change dramatically. And I have a chart that I want to show you that is going to kind of upend this particular logic. Here it is. Back dating all the way to 1928, when Hoover beat Coolidge, what we found is the following year, the S&P 500 had a return of negative 11.91%. You might remember that is happening right in the midst of the Great Depression. Then when Roosevelt succeeded Hoover coming into 1932, the increase of the S&P 500 was 46.59%. In 1952, Eisenhower succeeded Truman, and in that year, the market went negative 6.62%. In 1960, Kennedy succeeded Eisenhower, and then the market went up 23.13%. In 1968, Nixon succeeded President Johnson. The market went down 11.6%. 1976, Carter beat Ford, and then the market went down 11.5%. 1980, Reagan succeeded Carter, market went down negative 9.73%. In 1988, George H.W. Bush beat Ronald Reagan, and the market went up 27.25%. 1992, Bill Clinton beat George H.W. Bush, market went up 7.6%. 2000, George W. Bush succeeded Bill Clinton, the market went down negative 13.4%, bearing in mind that also encountered at the same time as 9/11. Then in 2008, Obama succeeded Bush, and the market went up 23.45%. And recently in 2016, Trump succeeded Obama, and the market went up 9.54%. With all that being said, you can see that irrespective of the political party of the president, it really didn't have a dramatic effect as to what the market did the following year. In certain years when a Democrat was elected president, the market went up. In other years a Democrat was elected, the market went down. In certain years when a Republican was elected president, the market went up. In other years, the market went down when a Republican was elected. So what you're noticing is this trend historically is that the market doesn't care as much specifically about who is going to win the upcoming election. They just care about the fundamentals of the economy and events that are going to affect the bottom line. So when it comes to you and myself going into this upcoming election cycle, irrespective of your particular opinion, I want to let you know I'm not going to encourage you to vote or support any candidate on any side of the aisle. I just want to give you the fundamentals right now so that way you don't make an irrational decision and pull your money out of the market just because a certain person gets elected. What I think is more important is to maintain the long-term strategy when it comes to achieving your financial goals. That means saving money, cutting spending, avoiding lifestyle inflation, avoiding debt, and saving and investing your money in specifically into index funds and areas that you understand so that way you can achieve your financial goals long term. And if you look at that, look at the facts of the situation dating back historically, it should give you some comfort going into this upcoming election. Now I know things might seem a little bit unique right now, obviously given the pandemic and the economic woes we have currently encountered, but I particularly believe that if you are able to maintain a wise strategy that is grounded in facts, that is grounded into the understanding that the market performs long term and continues to increase over time, that is going to be the safer bet to take. And once again, if you feel uncomfortable with that, that is fine with me. Do what makes you feel most comfortable, but my encouragement is to avoid allowing your emotions or your political preferences to affect your finances, because politics and finances don't necessarily commingle. I think it's important for you to make sure that you're exercising your right to vote, you're supporting the candidate that you want to win, but ultimately at the end of the day, you shouldn't allow whoever wins to dictate what you do with your money and how you're going to achieve your financial goals, to provide for your family, and help you achieve and live out your dreams. So with all that being said, I hope this information is helpful for you, helps you keep grounded during this upcoming environment, because I'm sure things are going to get even more rocky until we're into the upcoming election cycle. With all that being said, I'd like to thank you for watching the video today. If you wouldn't mind, please like the video. That would mean a lot to myself personally. Help push this video to other people who might need to hear it. Especially you might have a friend or family member who's really strongly Democrat, really strongly Republican, maybe deeply independent, but they are allowing their emotions to get the better of them and they're not investing right now or not saving their money. Hopefully this can encourage them to be wise with their finances. In addition, if you have any questions, please comment down below. I'd love to interact with you, get to know you, answer any questions you have, but also do any research on your behalf so that way you can make wise decisions. In addition, if you wouldn't mind, please subscribe to the channel. I want to make sure that I'm doing everything I can to create content that has a meaningful and positive impact in your life by encouraging you and myself to lead lives of meaning and purpose, all while maintaining balance and moderation. And if you do subscribe to the channel, please tap the notification bell. That will notify you every time I post a video, which I do on a weekly basis. Once again, I'd like to thank you for watching the video today. I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day.